Mewgenics is finally here and my god am I loving it. If you're jumping into the game and wondering why your cats keep dying in runs, fighting at home or producing absolute gremlins, I have some beginner to intermediate tips to help you along the way. After a lot of trial and error and some truly tragic breeding decisions, I now have 10 essential tips that will massively improve your runs and outcomes. I'll break this into 3 areas: combat, team building and breeding, which is way deeper than it first looks. But before we get into it, I'm JammyGiraffe, bringing you all things roguelite. Please consider hitting the like and subscribe button to support me, and come check out the Discord for more roguelite fans. But for now, let me start my run. First up, combat. Always watch turn order. At the top of the screen is the turn bar. It is easy to overlook this and get caught up by the units which have multiple turns. But you may not know you can hold the right click button on the turn order or the unit itself on the battlefield to see their movement and attack reach, which is particularly useful on bosses. Before you commit to an attack, check: will this enemy act twice? Can they reach my backline? Do I need to reposition instead? Killing enemies about to attack you is almost always advantageous, so look at the enemy that's going to hit next. Doing this means you avoid their turn and means you will potentially get turns sooner. Turn order awareness alone can win some fights. It's also worth noting that at the end of each cat's turn, you can click on the terrain in the direction that you want the cat to face in order to not get backstabbed or hit from behind, which does increase damage for certain enemies. Read every enemy, especially bosses. Do not wing boss fights. Every enemy in Mewgenics has specific mechanics, particularly the bosses. Every boss has some form of gimmick or mechanic that you need to interact with or move around in order to mitigate disaster. Don't overlook the information you can get from hovering over a unit, down to the potential damage numbers that they can do. Take 10 seconds before the fight to hover, read and plan. Most losses I've had in Mewgenics have come from not understanding what the enemy actually does and making a move before realizing. Number 3, use tactical view and other settings. Sometimes the battlefield gets messy. As I said earlier, in the same way you can right click on a unit to see its reach, you can also hold the middle mouse button or control on your keyboard to see the tactical view. This makes positioning and terrain and movement ranges much clearer. If you ever feel I couldn't see that, you probably should have used the tactical view. In a similar vein, have you ever clicked a terrain tile when you meant to click a unit to attack? Well, there is a setting for this too. If you turn on double click to confirm terrain targeting, this will save your bacon, or catnip I suppose. Certain abilities interact with terrain, and sometimes positioning damage or environmental effects are much stronger than hitting directly. It's a small setting, but it opens up better plays. Number 4, faster wins equal better loot, but don't rush it. Yes, quicker clears improve loot based on your overall team's luck stat, but if there's one harmless enemy left, do consider hitting the bodies, hitting the bin bags, hitting the various rubbish that's around to find additional pickups. Moving to grab these pickups and optimizing your greed without dying is a certain skill ceiling in itself. Know when to finish, but know when to farm safely, because the coins and the health can increase longevity of your runs. Similarly, birds are incredible for long-term run value. I'm sure you've seen the little birds, or various different sized birds I should say, that can appear at the start of combat. They improve the overall stats of the units who kill them, but do not trade a cat for a bird. If it's safe, prioritize them. If it's risky, live to fight another day. Longevity over short-term greed. Number 5, use your items and consumables. Stop hoarding them. You get plenty of items in Mewgenics. You can only store so many. They have durability, they break, so you may as well use them. If you're waiting for that perfect moment, you'll often die holding value. Use them, cycle them, leverage them early to snowball your run. Items need to be used. Do not die with them. Now let's move on into the team building. First up, choosing collars. Yes, match collars to stats. We've all seen the total stats that are there and we understand what does what. You can hover over them to see that. If you want a good tank, choose a cat that has high health. That makes sense. But look at the lowest stat too. A tank with terrible speed might look fine on paper, but if they act last, your squishy units may already be dead. Speed dictates tempo, and tempo dictates survival. Balance your team's action economy, not just their rolls. Yes, do pick the cat that has the highest base stat for that particular collar, but sometimes it might be better to go for a slightly more balanced approach. I've had some great runs where I've had a tank with high speed that's able to dash straight in there so that he is taking all the damage. It works really well, but at the same time, if that's going to mean that you don't have a mage with high attack or a high attack ranger, whatever, then maybe it isn't the best. But just consider what stat is the lowest and what that's going to do. Number 7, balance damage and sustain. Pure damage teams can fall apart and pure sustain teams can stall out, of course. The best consistency I've had is having 2 damage dealers and 2 forms of sustain, whether that's a cleric for healing and a tank for absorption, or maybe a necromancer to spawn familiars so that they're taking some of the damage. You need to have some form of range or AoE almost always, but also a mechanic to keep your cats alive. It's so important, which brings up point 8. Check your passives before picking items. Before selecting your items, look at each cat's passive abilities. Some cats have abilities that scale off status, some benefit from multiple hits, some want positioning synergy. If you blindly pick stronger looking items without synergy, your team becomes diluted. Build around passives, then enhance them. The passives are the build makers of your team and should be one of the first things considered when looking at how to play with that team. One of the most powerful ones I've found on the Ranger is the one that essentially gives it an overlook ability, meaning any unit that comes into its range, it attacks. This has been absolute game changing in my builds to build around. So just make sure you're looking at your passives and playing with them to your benefit. Next, let's move into breeding tips, the part that most people are underestimating, and your house really matters. Number 9, understand house stats. Your house has 4 core stats. Appeal, which makes higher quality strays show up. Comfort, which affects breeding frequency against fighting frequency. Stimulation, which affects newborns quality. And health, which affects lifespan and the chance to cure disorders. Cats only breed in the same room, plus of the opposite gender. 2 males or 2 females obviously won't make a kitten. However, the question mark or ditto can act as either in the relationship. If you want specific traits passed down, keep those cats in separate rooms and make sure that they can breed together. Kittens inherit base stats of their parents. Now, if you aren't aware yet, there is a lot more information to know about your cats. Tink the Twink in the caravan will give you access to this information if you give them kittens. Now, big spoiler warning, if you don't want to know more about some of this breeding, skip on to the time above. Tink can give access to a family tree, cat sexuality, visibility of what their base stats are, what libido they have, their sexual preferences. All this helps manage your cats. Giving more kittens to Tink will give you access to these abilities, which then gives you more agency over the bloodline and keeping hold of the stats that you want. Outside of that though, essentially just keep cats with good stats or similar stats in the same rooms to intentionally create kittens that hopefully have better base stats. Otherwise, breeding can just become random chaos. control your rooms to control the bloodlines. Early game, focus on comfort, but remember that overcrowding also reduces comfort. Low comfort increases fighting. Fighting can kill cats, and this is how promising bloodlines can disappear. If cats start brawling constantly, do something about it. Later in the game, use other rooms to have health and appeal so that they can attract better cats, but also keep the good cats or the older cats alive for longer. Which brings me to point 10, a very important one. Don't sell all your good cats early. Now, learn from my mistake. Early on, I was selling my cats or giving my cats to shops to try and get the additional benefits that the shops give. Then I lost a couple of runs and suddenly had almost no quality breeding stock, and to be honest, no cats available. You need to keep hold of some strong cats and allow them to stay in the house retired to grow old and breed, establishing a stable genetic base, as stable as inbreeding can be. Now, think long term. This is very important. Yes, the shops want cats, but if you don't have any cats, you're not going to breed any and they won't survive runs. Yes, continue to give the shops cats, but hold on to the ones that you want to keep. So there you have it, 10 tips to help you early to mid game. Mewgenics isn't just a tactics game, it's a genetic simulator disguised as a roguelite. Master turn order, build balanced teams and control your bloodlines. Do that and your runs become dramatically more consistent. If this helped, let me know what kind of builds you've been running and what your weirdest cat mutation has been in the comments. If you want more Mewgenics content, consider hitting like and subscribe. I will be coming out with more detailed videos on Mewgenics in future weeks. And also consider jumping into the Discord. We've got a lot of roguelite lovers playing all sorts of games in there. I hope you found this helpful. I've been JammyGiraffe, sending love and positivity. As always, good luck in your next run. Jammy out.